Nick, that was good.
Hey, this is Joe Big House Kenn, and I'm with Coach Chad Coy, and we've got special guests in the audience, Big Ben and Nick Best Strongman, and we're here to talk Day 1 qualifiers of World's Strongest Man. We appreciate all of y'all who followed us through the Arnold. We got a lot of cool feedback, so we're coming to you again live from the Airbnb in Myrtle Beach. Chad, 5 groups, 25 men, and when we look at the results, it looks like there's about 14 that are still in play.
They're still fighting, and there's 2 more events tomorrow, and it's going to be real fun to watch. And today was a lot of excitement, and I'll tell you what, there was a little drama too.
Yeah, well, one of the things is I noticed right away, I actually thought it was much hotter than I expected for this time of year, even down in Myrtle. So I can only imagine how the weekend, if the weather holds, the weekend finals, that's going to become recovery, nutrition,
hydration,
sleep, hydration. So a lot of things outside of the actual training and what was accomplished in the training hall, whether it be events, lifting, etc. Now you're going to rely more on nutrition and recovery versus the events.
100%. Now I will say this year, this is a lot different than last year because it was way hotter in Sacramento. So I much prefer it here.
It's supposed to rain on Sunday, guys.
And it's supposed to rain. Great. It's supposed to rain on Sunday. Awesome. We're doing multiple tasking.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of
guys.
You got 2 knuckleheads just being knuckleheads, and we got other people cutting and climbing.
Yeah.
This is a live.
This
We're
is live
out here. We got content creators all over the place.
Ben shot 6 hours of the video and cut it to 11 minutes. I think that's pretty impressive, and he already taught some old dogs some new tricks on how to do our phone stuff better. So I think it's pretty awesome.
So first event, farmers carry into power stairs. I like medleys, probably a little bit heavier medley than we've seen in the group stages in the last couple of years of World's Strongest Man. Right off the bat,
I think it actually might have been a little bit lighter because there's only 308 on those handles. I don't even know, they said they were 308, but they look like the same 275s they did a couple of years ago.
They're the same 275.
Yeah, so who knows?
but I think the one surprise was, for various reasons, was Tom Stoltman and his group not winning that event. That really changed the points, especially in his group that we'll go over. That probably, as I was driving in and you were already here, when I saw that pop up, I was like, that was my shocker. And then you find out he had a callus issue, which also, that cost Adam Bishop.
Adam withdrew, and then they put in Kevin Helsiger as the replacement. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of chunk hands, so I think it's going to make a big difference. Then come tomorrow, tomorrow when they do the stone medley and have to do the Denny's.
But I like medleys. I like heavier medleys because that displays a different type of strength. But then the second event was 3 circus dumbbells into a circus barbell, clean and press for reps. We saw the typical pressers dominate the overall 5 groups with Trey and Lucas Hatton doing what they usually do, and Austin Andrade had a good.
Austin did, and I think Hooper, if they had to point it out, he'd have been 3rd. So Hooper did a real good job too.
I like those types of events. I do think, for me personally, I prefer where it goes something like the circus dumbbell, barbell, and then either a dumbbell.
Or just for me, I really would have wished that the dumbbells were a little heavier. I mean, I'd rather see them do 300-pound, 100-kilo dumbbell for triple, or but 80, 90, 100, I would have rather seen heavier dumbbells. But again, that's just me.
Yeah.
90,
and again,
110.
I think the tough thing with World's Strongest Man, and definitely not taking sides, you're looking at 4 straight days, 10 events. They've got that's
it's
one of
outside
those,
in the heat.
It's a bob and weave type of deal. And then the funny thing I laugh about is they smashed the stage because I'm not trying to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. You'd think you'd have a little sturdier stage when you're dropping things from overhead.
Yeah,
and you're relying on a crash pad that a lot of times those dumbbells are going to bounce off the crash pad, whether the athlete guides it down or not. So no one's at fault. I just find sometimes when you go through these events and you see the little things like that, you would think that if they would have maybe put 2 layers of plywood versus 1 with the rubber on top.
Well, they had 2 layers of plywood. That was the problem. They need to go 3.
Either way,
Three-
we had to add one.
Or just have a simple platform like they did for the squats. They brought on 2 platforms and dropped those down. If they'd have done something simple like that, they wouldn't have had that
Well, it
problem.
would have dissipated the force when the barbell's
Yeah.
dropping. And you got to think, some of those guys are dropping that. I mean, when you got the bar, you got 350 pounds over your head, and you drop 350 pounds, 8
From
feet.
6'9".
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you're 6'9", so that's
And that's when I thought when I first came in, they said someone broke the platform. I thought somebody dropped the barbell and it was actually a dumbbell. So again,
no, actually, it was the
was
barbell.
barbell.
It was the barbell.
barbell?
It was. I mean, I don't think it was Evan that was the only one.
It was
Everyone was
already
dropping it.
broken.
It was already broken, but Evan
You could
went.
see Evan going
Evan
into
kind of
it.
went into it, so I definitely think that didn't help much. But it was a little.
that's
jacked
about
for
when
that.
I pulled up was they were just fixing the platform. And then the squat. Now, everybody talks about the squat and strongman, why you don't see it a lot. And again, I think today showed why a lot of people do not want to be promoters and put a squat in. It's, it comes down to this. Why don't you just hire legitimate IPF powerlifting judges to judge the squat, and then you flag them like they do at the combine? I mean, I wasn't a referee at the combine, at the NFL combine, but I was on the floor, and there's a lot of times where an athlete would do 32 reps and they'll go 32 minus 4. And that athlete gets credited for 28 reps. There are no debates. There are no fights. And again, if you have 3 judges that no one knows coming in from the sport that you're judging the lift in, it'd be hard for these athletes to go at somebody and say, well, we know if I get on this side, this guy's a softer judge than another side. And then, and let's face it, if you're going to squat to a platform or some type of touch point, you're never going to get it right. You're just not. Because you don't have enough 1-inch mats, and you're not doing a good enough job of how these guys go into prep in the testing and how they're getting measured. Like, we say it all the time, and they say, we'll stop you, and then it's not stopped. Because everybody knows if you go in with a high bar, narrow stance, and then come out low bar with a wide stance, that's not the same squat. It's just not. So the squat, stop the debate. Just know if there's going to be a squat in the event, somebody's going to figure out how to trick it.
Yeah,
Some people
probably
are
have
just
to have
smarter.
judges.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have technology enough now to these days where they can find the crease.
And I can tell you this, and this,
top of the
y'all are
bone
going to
is
laugh, and I'm just going to tell you this, and I don't know if it would work because these guys' legs are bigger than most people's human waist. But back in the day, in the 1990s, late 1980s and 1990s, bigger, faster, stronger had a little thing you'd strap on their thigh, and at parallel, it would beep.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a way to do it, but if we're going to bring the squat in, I just think that to just nail it all in the head so these guys can't say, well, so-and-so. No. These are 3 legitimate judges we're bringing in for the squat, and they're going to say, and you're just going to see it. And they'll give you the red paddle or white paddle, and somebody can tell you, no lift, and you'll know right away you didn't go deep enough.
Well,
That's what happens in the powerlifting, Nick.
Yeah.
If you look at what the Arnolds did, or you look at what Brian did at the Strongest Man on Earth, he brought in multiple judges. Okay, so you're seeing it from all 3 angles. Okay, and it's here, especially here, like you said, here's a card, or you've got a buzzer. It wouldn't be that hard. Or actually, we've got enough technology now to put in a laser.
We were all in the back room.
Right.
Myself and you were in the part of the judges, and guys still figured out their way to outlever Brian's testing and setup. So in the end, the squat, the squat is a pure strength movement that somehow needs to be in strongman. We just got to figure out what's the right way to do it so we don't have guys coming out saying so-and-so was high, so-and-so was too low, so-and-so got okey-doked. Hey, man, that's the way it goes. And that's one thing about strongman, why a lot of people say, hey, strongman, do what the situation is, do the most reps you can, and then you fall into the spot. But I will say this, being a non-strongman and understanding some of the history, too many double-digit reps, regardless of the depth, the weight wasn't heavy enough. It should have been 750, and that's especially if you're going to wear gear. If you're going to allow suits and you're going to wear the wraps, I remember back in the day when the best and the biggest not getting 18 reps.
No.
18 reps in the time. So with that being said, I think that's a debate for another day.
Yeah.
But it's something that we can discuss because we're here with two guys who've competed at World's Strongest Man and two other guys who lived the dream being super fans and knowing people who competed in World's Strongest Man. So with that being said, let's look at the group.
Wait, real quick, because I'm going to fix that. Nick competed in World Strongest Man. I was an alternate to World Strongest Man and did Masters. I want to make sure that's clear.
Did you get a T-shirt from World's Strongest Man by being an alternate?
No, but I got a really nice, I got a great letter that's framed that says I got invited by TWI to World Strongest Man in 2001. So that's the only thing I got. But that was back then. They didn't have
credit.
Yeah.
I give you credit. A lot of people would have took that and ran with it because no one would have did a chat GPT check.
That's called integrity, brother.
Hey,
and I'd rather have
That's
it.
why we're sharing the mic.
You got it, baby.
True.
All right, let's crank through this. We get this going.
Group 1. This one is probably the tightest. Ray O'Neill, 11, the reigning World's Strongest Man, came out on fire. Great points. Luke Richardson, 10, which is a lot better than I think a lot of people thought after not a very good showing at Europe's, and he was the favorite at Europe's. Ben Gloskup, a late call-up from the Europe's place in 9 points. And then Nick Guardione, 9 points, who we know Nick's on the come-up pretty hard in the USA.
And Tristan got a late call-up 10 days out, and he got here, and he's bringing everything he has. So I got a lot of respect for the guy on a short call-up.
Now, this is the group that here is going to be very interesting as we go into tomorrow. Group 2, Austin Andrade, Nick Guardione's training partner, 12 points. Very solid day. Matt Ragg, 12 points. But here's the shocker. Tom Stoltman, 8 points. This is going to be very interesting to see how Tom comes out tomorrow. He has to win both events and hope that one of those two comes in fourth or 2/3. But as we went all through before we talked, if Austin and Matt go 2-3, 3-2, they're going to win this group by a point with 19, and Tom would fall short at 18. So the truck pull tomorrow, we'll know a lot more about Group 2 right after event 4.
Like we spoke, Tom has to win the next two events and get some help by Schoenwinkel or Levi Strong to bump one of those guys out of the second, third spot. If that doesn't happen, Tom can't make it. Now, at the same time, what I would say, because of where Tom's points would come over from the prelims into the finals when they carry over, some of those bad events are going to cost him dearly, and then it's going to put him in a damn hole when it comes to where he starts.
Before he worries about how many points he's got in the final.
No, I got you.
I
got you, but I'm looking big picture, and I think can Tom do it? Tom definitely can do it.
Yeah, he's a 3-time World's Strongest Man. He's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
I think he win the last two events, but
yeah, so do I.
But then
how the other guys do.
Can the other guys
do what they're supposed to do, and when the pressure comes in?
Hey, and I'll tell you what, Tim has Austin on point. Matt Ragg's looking really good. Schoenwinkel's still looking really tight, and he's got some decent ends.
And again,
can he be a spoiler?
And he is. I don't ever count that guy out after watching him in Brian's last year. Man, guys like that, when you don't hear enough about, they're the guys you need to worry about.
Yeah.
Group 3, this one here, somebody's going to be heartbroken on Group 3. Mitch Hooper, 4-time Arnold's, 1-time World's Strongest Man and multiple Rogue champion. And the only guy
and strongest man on earth.
And I was just going to say, and the only man to win the Grand Slam of heavyweight fights in the strongman world.
Yeah.
12 points. Lucas Hatton, 11, and Eddie Williams, 11. This one here, Eddie Williams is massive, and boy, can he move. We were just talking about it offline.
Yeah, he won
the truck pull is gonna The truck pull is going to be monster for these three guys tomorrow.
Yeah, and the nice thing is, as compared to when we were here 3 years ago, this truck pull is about 20,000 pounds heavier, so it won't be this bunched up at 37 seconds.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's going to be across the board. I think there'll be a couple guys. There's going to be some guys having some fits with it, but I think it's good because it's heavy. There won't be a lot of bunching.
Wasn't it something like in that final?
There were 5 guys at 37 seconds and change.
But there was 9 guys within a second and a half.
Right.
It was ridiculous.
It was too light.
Okay, Group 4. You don't want to count your chickens before they're hatched, but Andre Foytu is just taking that European champion and said, you know what? I'm not done yet. 2 firsts and a second, 14 points. Highest point total of anybody in the groups. He has separated himself, but Big Bryce Johnson and Martins Lisi, another former World's Strongest Man champion, Rogue champion, Arnold champion, are tied with 10. Issue here is, can Bryce Johnson recover from a injury in the squat to come back and pull a truck tomorrow?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to say this: if there's anybody that can do it, I think he's mentally there. Like, because I like, what are you going to do? He goes, I'm coming tomorrow to pull a truck and win and get to the finals. So, you guys got a yard of guts. I'll tell you what.
He had a nice squat going when he went down. The first thing you're like is how you just don't want to ever see a guy go down like that. We saw some guys go down, but they're in suits and they're in wraps. It's really more because they're just gassed.
Right.
And you wake them up, you pull their straps off, and off they go. This was not the case with Big Bryce. It sucks. No one wants to see anybody get hurt. I hope he can wake up tomorrow and just gut it out and do the best he can. But that's going to be interesting.
Well, I told him I got some nerve block and some heat, so we'll lube him up and we'll see what happens.
And Foytu, like I said, man, he dominated Europe, and man, he is on super fire. It'll be interesting to see how he does in these next two events.
Who's really good at truck pull?
Martins. Yeah, I'm
Who's
not
really good at natural stone?
Martins. We all know this is day 2 is sets up for Martins Lisi's, and he could have a possibly 2 wins.
And I'll tell you what, I think Arnold, he surprised me.
Yeah, he looked
daylights
awesome.
out, man. And he came in today. He's there. He's ready to rock and roll. I think he can punch his ticket to the finals because you hit it around the head, Nick. I think he can win the next 2 events, and that puts him at 20 points. Where can Foytu hold on to? I think he's going. The question is Bryce. If Bryce can gut through it, I just don't think Jeffers or Helsinger can actually dig out of the hole because they're at 7 points.
I
and 4
think
points.
these 3 guys are going to be top 3 in the next 2 events if Bryce can gut it out.
Yeah.
Final group is the Trey Mitchell, coached by Chad Coy group. Big Trey. Once again, Trey Mitchell. You got to love the dude because he's going to either come in last or he's going to win. And after a bad performance in event 1, although you got your point.
We got the point.
You go 2 event wins on the static monster, maybe the most statically strong guy at this contest.
I will say this. Lucas and his coach, Alec, paid him the biggest compliment because if you can plant 2 feet in the ground, there's no one stronger in the whole planet than Trey Mitchell.
And Trey Mitchell comes in and takes 2 more event wins at a World's Strongest Man competition to go up 1 point over the T-Rex Evan Singleton. Then here's tight. Pavlo Kordiaka, placed winner at Europe's, wasn't invited till the last 2 weeks, 9 points. And Andrew Flynn, 8.5. So this is bunched up kind of like Group 1. But again, it all goes down to these next 2 events. And Trey and Evan are really good at these next 2 events.
Yep.
So it's going to be quite a day when we come wrapping up tomorrow. And there's a good chance we're going to go from the airwave booth tomorrow after event 2. So if you're on site and you actually watch this, don't be afraid to come over and check us out when we're at the airwave booth. But the big thing is tomorrow afternoon, we'll know who the 2026 10 finalist is, the challenge to be the world's strongest man. Who will it be? We'll tell you our predictions going into it tomorrow afternoon.
It's going to be exciting.
Hey, for Nick Best Strongman, Big Ben, Chad Coy, and myself, thanks again, and we will see you tomorrow.